Sarang.
Where is Swami right now for you?
Me, right this moment, he's everywhere, including right in my heart, your heart, Visu's heart. Because the last time we visited India after his samadhi, before we left, he was kind enough to give us an experience of having him everywhere. He was in our hearts, in the trees, in the building, just all around us. And at that moment, after over 40 years, I finally realized what he'd been telling us all along. Find me in your heart, find me in your heart. He's given us many other experiences over time, but that one became fully valid when we left India in September 2011. Now, I experience him everywhere. There's not a time that I don't, and there's no place where he is not, no matter what the situation. For me, he's God. He's the creator of everything. And in this lifetime, to have the experience of knowing the creator, the very entity or being that made the earth, the stars, everything, it's beyond what our human minds can grasp. I see him as the very creator of everything that exists. Now we have to remember, God can do anything. He can take any form he chooses. And, oh, there's a quick story in connection with that too. One time, I was in a department store. The escalator stopped and I fell over and I hit my head. And the blood was coming like all down my nose, all of my clothes. And out of nowhere, this young woman comes over. She's just dressed in plain brown. And she says, she comes onto the escalator and she says, hold your nose like this. Your nose is broken in 3 places. So just hold it like this till you get to the hospital. So I said, thank you. And off she went. And we got to the hospital. And sure enough, after a day of waiting, they finally x-rayed my head and said, your nose is broken in 3 places. Now, who could that have been other than Baba? And he's come to us in many ways. The little bird just came to listen. He's come to us in many ways, just like that. Over the years, like there's so many different experiences. Where he's shown us who and what he is. He can be any form. He can be the stars. He can be the person next to you. He's unlimited. And we try to limit him with our minds only because we don't know any better. But when we feel him with our hearts, then we know unlimited love. And that's what he is. To me, he is God taken form. Oh gosh, I guess I went to church before I was even born. And Sunday school was, there was no not going. I mean, rain, snow, sleet, storm, every Sunday, right in Sunday school. And we knew that there was a loving, protective power. We called him Jesus at that time. And I think that love and protection, that power that we felt then, was Swami, just expressed in that form. Later on, as time went by, I was reading Sai Baba Man of Miracles. And I remember while I was reading, I was saying, oh, could this really be possible? Could Jesus have come back? And we knew enough then to know that he could be in any form, anywhere. We just had to find him someplace on the earth. We were looking for him. And while I was reading Sai Baba Man of Miracles, I saw a little Baba and a little Jesus, like right on the book, and they were merged into one. So that was like one of the first times that I had to stop and say, oh. And then I knew we were on the right track.
I know you
Christian.
mentioned Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Christian.
Yeah.
Catholic faith? Or
No, Protestant.
Protestant.
All the way back. Yeah. The concept of Jesus that we're given, to me, is not complete. Like his complete love and forgiveness, and not only that, but the depth was a little bit lacking. And I think as you sit quiet, like when you're in church and you sit quiet, you realize there's more. Somehow, we're all connected in some way, shape, and form. And it was like looking for that. What was the basis for that? Why did we have these questions? And the usual questions that young people have. Why is there suffering? Why is there hurt and harm? And it can't be just because you're here right now. So looking for reasons behind it, I think, is what led us to the Eastern philosophies. Understanding the laws of karma, understanding meditation or quiet sitting, because the Quakers have quiet sitting. And some things have carried over from Eastern tradition, and some things have not, because the church chose not to have them. But we were looking, and that's how we got called to Swami. We started looking, he called us, and then he told us, you don't have to look for God. God is always there. So, but we were looking because we didn't know any better. And he allowed us to find him. But right now, we're in 1973, 74, visiting Swami 75. And one thing that he said that I thought was very important, at that time, a lot of different gurus were coming to the United States. And we would sometimes go see this one, go see that one, or go to someone that was holding a spiritual meeting. And we were helping build the Purna Chandra at that time. This is 74, I believe. And, you know, they would load up the rocks and sand, and you carry the bag over this far and carry the bag over this far. And then we were sitting for a meeting. I remember Dr. Hislop was in charge of the group from the U.S. We were sitting for a meeting, and it was before a big conference. And Mary and I are talking. Now, Reverend Mary and her husband had come with us the first time that we went to India. After that, only Mary would come with our little group going to India. And we were talking, and everything is quiet, and we're talking to each other. We're supposed to be having a meeting, but this is so important. We have to talk about, are we going to go see this guru that's coming in after we get home for the new year? And we're talking, and oh, we don't know, I don't know. And it's gotten so quiet. It's like pin drop quiet, but this is important, so we have to keep talking. So we're leaning close, close, close to each other, talking, talking. And I turn, and Swami's right here. He's right here, right at our feet, standing there. Beautiful, bright orange robe, standing. And he looks at the both of us, and he says, I am sufficient for you. And then he parted us, walked between the two of us over to the Australian group. So Mary and I looked at each other, and we said, I guess that's the answer. He is sufficient for us. And he is. I think because I referred everything to Swami whenever I would have to talk with a client. One time I went, and he said, do you work? And that's because, no, I let him do it. He had to do everything. But one lesson that he taught me, because of my position, had a little importance, and I thought, oh, you know, I'm a little important. And when people would come, I wouldn't often see them right away. They had to wait. And one time we were standing outside. Swami had told us to come the next morning, and we were standing, waiting, 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 waiting. And the Sevadal came, "Madam, did Swami call you?" And I said, "Yes, yes, he did. Yes, he did." Waiting. So finally Swami came to the door and called us inside. After that, when I got home, nobody had to wait. If they had an appointment, I was available right then. So another lesson taught in a gentle way. No reprimand, no nothing, just example. So that's his grace to us. I had heard about Swami, our little group in Brooklyn that was searching for God. These two of our members in that group came back and said they went to India and they saw this man and he was amazing, and maybe this is who we're looking for. So that's what made us look at Howard Murphy's book, Sai Baba, Man of Miracles. And the people in California, they were coming back with stories of a holy man in India who could raise the dead, make trinkets, do all kinds of things, but mostly who changed your heart and didn't ask for money. I think that was one of the key things. And it caught our attention, and that's how we started. But that's what I think drew most Western people. Like, there was no money involved, because everything in our culture was based on money. So here was a person that was giving love, like Jesus did. Free, no charge. Yeah. Thank you for inviting us to share. Because I don't know if I'll ever get to write my book, so this is a good way to have some of them recorded.